MLR releases. All right. The schedule came out. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you. It's kind of a point of comfort because, after everything that happened with New York and obviously Toronto, I've said, I think that this MLR might be in trouble. I didn't think it was going to fold. I think they definitely had this year, maybe next year, but, questions are now being had. And on top of that, I think a lot of people had questions about that Los Angeles team. Will they actually be like a real team? Are they going to actually do what they're supposed to do? And then by all intents and purposes, it absolutely looks like they're actually going to make their stuff happen. So with this schedule release, we got the full year schedule. We're talking about 16 weeks, making it work the best that it can. Obviously, they've now made adjustments with the changes. I didn't want to put the entire schedule because it's just, you can go find it on Twitter, on MLR's page, or on Facebook, or on Instagram, but I think X is usually the better one to do it. But I did like looking at what we had for the first like couple weeks. And these are some like legit good matchups. So New Orleans versus Old Glory, which I think is a great rivalry match that people don't, they probably do, but I think is not talked about enough because New Orleans has dominated the rivalry against Old Glory, but Old Glory got the last big punch before playoff play against New Orleans. Houston Sabercats versus the reigning champions, New England Free Jacks. Houston Sabercats, a team that is constantly like on that cusp. Every year has kind of improved bit by bit by bit. Obviously, the New England Free Jacks are one that is constantly going to be just good competition, just good management, good team, good administration. Like, what can you say? They know how to get their players, and they've been doing a lot of good job in signing and keeping players around. The battle of the newbies, the Miami Sharks and the Chicago Hounds. Look, Miami Sharks, aka Argentina's U.S. professional side, and the Hounds now coming back in, who basically last year got all of the LA Giltinis players, and now we're seeing what they're going to be able to do in year two. Beautiful stadium, beautiful management. They got people who are dedicated to doing it. Miami Sharks got money behind them, great management, and I don't know what they're going to do in terms of like bursting out the scene. I don't feel like it's going to be like LA was 2-3 years ago, but I do think that they're going to make an impact, and I'm hoping to God they're going to do it culturally. We'll talk more about that, come closer to preseason. You got the Seattle Seahawks versus San Diego, another great rivalry in terms of that West Coast matchup. Both of those teams have been very talented, very, very talented teams. They don't play at all. And so it's a good setup. And then, of course, LA versus Utah Warriors. The battle of what I'm thinking, and if that management for LA does it correctly, should be the two most outside the field entertaining teams and community-based teams, if it goes right. Utah Warriors have been absolutely killer for their marketing and their community base. I think they're playing themselves into being a blueprint and really setting themselves up. Obviously, Utah has a great rugby culture that's going on out there, so it does make sense as to why they would be able to show out as well as they can. And then, of course, for LA, brand new team. We have no idea what the heck is going to happen. We don't even know who they've signed up for. But for whatever it's worth, I think they're going to actually, they'll make their spark. Everything's just really late. But hey, look, if you got it like that and you think you can make those last late pushes, more power to you. So I'm happy. I'm happy to hear from that one. But like I said, the rest of the schedule I think is going to be good. Looking in the comments, Abel Rosa saying, I'm looking forward to the Legions versus Free Jacks rematch. I think that one will be really, really dope. That's going to be a hard-hitting game. Gotta love a good vengeance game. That's where the bread and butter comes into all of this. A good vengeance game with it. So, I think this is one that I actually think this, now with everything that's happened, might end up being one of the best overall seasons for MLR. And not just because of improvement, because actually I think if those two teams had not closed, it might not. But I'm going to go into that a little bit later. But I wanted to talk about Utah's rollout for their announcement, because I'm not gonna front. This was one of the dopest rollouts that you could have that I've seen MLR do ever. Like, don't consider MLR to be a massively creative marketing side, but my goodness, did they create a massively entertaining marketing side with this one? So hold on, let me pull this one up for y'all here. Bring this over a little bit. Show you what they let us know is what it is to play with the big dogs when it comes to entertainment. And if you guys can't, you're listening on the podcast, obviously, just go check out the video on YouTube. We play the cuts as well too, so I ain't no worry. You're not gonna miss anything. All right, let's get this over here. Where are you? Oh shoot, can't find it. All right, hold on. This is what happens when you get those normal technical difficulties. All right, here we go. This was great.
Utah Warriors, Los Angeles. Seattle Seawolves. Chicago Hounds.
I love this.
Old Glory DC. NOLA Gold. Houston Sabercats. Dallas Jackals. San Diego Legion. New England Free Jacks. NOLA Gold. Los Angeles.
That's so funny. You're like, you guys don't exist
Chicago
yet.
Hounds. Miami Sharks. Houston Sabercats. Dallas Jackals. Seattle Seawolves.
Honestly, look, it's sometimes just that simple. Sometimes it's just that simple. You don't need a whole lot, but that was good. And so for those who didn't know, they kind of used the old school arcade one-on-one video. If you guys seen it, again, you guys can check it on Utah Warriors Twitter page. We'll post it on the GiftTimeRugby.com website so you can see it. Exactly, Abel. That thing was dope. I saw, and it's one of those things. Like, again, it's just do things that attract and bring attention, because what you do on social media is like a top of the funnel. You bring the attention and then you bring people through from there. So like I said, I really appreciated what they did with that one. And I look forward for this to in general just continue to build on it, because I do think that because of what happened last year, because of what's happened this year, I think there's such a press for these MLR owners to actually now succeed. And this is now when you get people. You're hungry. You're hungry because everybody's now doubting you. Before it was like, oh, you never know. Of course, people talk. But now you see all the ownerships like reaffirming, we are committed to this. We are going to be in this, yada, yada, yada. Like, I love that. This is what you need to be doing. I need that commitment. That's the hunger that really actually makes a difference over here. And so just one more thing, the MLR actually did change the competition format because of the fact that now you don't have two of the teams anymore. So instead of being like, well, let's try and figure it out. No, they said, let's do this again. It's going again, 16-game regular season, 8 home, 8 away. They're doing overall league standings, no conferences or division. So kind of returning back to what they did the first basically 3-4 years again. So again, nothing out of the usual for those. Last year was the time when they finally did divisions, but I'm actually okay with them doing it like this as of right now. Really get your overall. Those points are going to make all the difference, even though I'm not a big fan of points as a structure, because I do like win-loss, but I do like this in terms of what they have going on. Teams play 6 opponents twice, home and away, and 4 opponents once, home and away. And then the top 8 teams are going to qualify for the championship series. So I'm actually glad that they didn't reduce the amount of playoff contenders back to the top 6 or the top 5 with one having a bye week. I'm glad it's back at 8. I do want to see the top seed. I'm okay with them not having a bye week. Like, we're not at that point yet. Get your numbers up, get the most amount of teams, make people work it in. Just win by having the home field advantage the most, which I think is more than fair enough, right? I think that's more than fair enough for it. What's your guys' thoughts on what this new MLR structure? Well, new is the wrong word. This revised MLR structure, your thoughts about what you're expecting for the season. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it already, but I think that there's something that we can do. Ill Rugby over on Instagram was saying, I do hope that we get to go back to conferences at some point. I agree. I think conferences will be good. And I did like the idea of having the 3 conferences when we had 13 teams. But I think we need to make sure we're building up to that. So that, one, obviously makes it easier for travel for the teams. I think that's really significant in terms of restricting and maintaining the costs, but also it allows us to be able to create the separations and a little bit more power on the head-to-head wins, as opposed to if you got so many tries or so many scores, you hit this number of points. So like the idea of running up the score, which can be entertaining up to a point, doesn't become a demarcation. Like, I do get bored whenever a team has to like literally run up and just mollywop a team for no reason because they need to get those bonus points. It works whenever it's like 2 teams that are very close and then maybe one does run away. But whenever you have a clear separation between the 2 teams and it's just like it's not even close, like, dude, let this go. Sometimes it's just it ain't it. And we don't want to continue. We don't want situations that could possibly water down the product in any way, shape, or form.
Anybody say I can't, I say I ain't convinced. Round in the city, black out of 10.